Hey everybody, happy Cinco de Mayo. Isn't it ironic that Cinco de Mayo falls on a Taco Tuesday and everything has been put on hold in our country by a beer named after Corona? Kind of ironic, and I'm going to have a Corona later anyway, out of irony, because I'm a hipster. Hey, just wanted to touch base with a quick video. I know there's been a lot of confusion about this whole Corona situation. You don't know who to believe, what stats to trust, numbers all over the place. But I specifically want to focus today's video on testing and what you can do to find out if you're positive, negative, or if you're developing antibodies. So let's talk about some of the options. So one of the tests is a swab test, where they stick the Q-tip in your nose or in the back of your throat, and they take some secretions and they do a test to see if you're positive or negative for a virus. So it tells you if you're positive or negative, but it tells you nothing about if you had anything in the past or if you're developing antibodies for the future. And I'll come back to that in a second. And the other problem with is it doesn't tell you which type of corona it's testing. There's more than just corona, COVID-19. There's different types of coronaviruses. They've been around for a long time. In fact, some research is even showing that 35 to 50% of the time the flu is actually from a coronavirus. So it's non-specific. It just tells you if you're positive or negative. It doesn't tell you anything else. So it kind of drops the ball in some aspects. Now, there are some blood tests that maybe some people have been going to parking lots or CVS or different places to get. Most of them are blood draws. And there's so many different locations and so many different tests out there. There's a lot of confusion around the fact that there are many that have very high false positive rates. Now, what does that mean? A high false positive, I've heard anywhere from 65 to 80% of the time, these tests can have a high false positive. So what does that mean? Let's put that in normal, everyday numbers. So let's take 100 people. And if we have 100 people take one of these tests, 65 to 80 of those 100 people may come back with a positive test. It might be wrong, it may be false, but that's a heck of a lot of people coming back positive out of 100. In other words, it's crap science. It's just not good. That's just a horrible, horrible test. Now, there's a more accurate test. There's actually a finger stick test, just like if you've ever checked your blood for sugar, for diabetes, or you've had other types of tests where you poke your finger and you put the blood on a little stick or a little piece of paper. We have a finger stick test through KBMO Labs that has a sensitivity of 87.3% and a specificity of 100%. Now, what does that mean in English? So a true sensitive is a true positive. So if this test is done, what percentage of the time are we going to get a true positive if the person is really positive? Well, it's only over 87%. That's really good. That's good. And a test specific or test specificity, that's a hard word. Test specificity is testing for a true negative. So how many times, if a person is negative, will this test find out if they're negative? It's specific to the condition or the disease I'm testing for. Well, it has a specificity of 100. So if a person is negative, 100% of the time, they will find that person is negative. That's really good science. That's way better science than all these others. Now, what it does is it actually tests for the 4 different strains of this Corona COVID-2 or COVID-19 or whatever test, whatever virus is being the bad guy. There's the Europe virus, there's the Asian virus, and there's a couple other viruses. There's a couple different strains. So this test tests all 4 of them. Now, if you're not familiar with antibodies, this is where things can get confusing. I hope I'm explaining this well. So it tests for IgM and IgG. So if your markers are elevated in the IgM column, that means you are currently in an acute or infected stage. You have it. It's telling you presently you have it. You're in the middle of it. Now, whether you're symptomatic or not, that's another matter. But it'll tell you if you're currently fighting that infection. Now, if you have IgG levels elevated, that means you had it and your body is in recovery and you're developing antibodies for that. So that's really good because that tells you your future. That means you already have developed a natural immunity you should be good to go. If your IgM and IgG levels are elevated and the others are low, that tells you that you're in transition from acute and infected going into the good to go, building your own antibodies. So this is a very accurate, excuse me, this is a very precise and accurate test. It tells us about your past, if you had it, if you're presently going through it, and what you can expect for the future if you're developing antibodies and developing your own immune system. Now, the thing is that insurance is a little bit lagging on taking care of things like this. The fee for the test is $250. Insurance is not going to cover that. But this is really good news for people who want peace of mind of where their health is at. You know, maybe you've been around some questionable, sketchy people, and you're kind of curious, like, I want to know if I had it or where I'm at. Or maybe your type of work, you're around people that are coughing and what have you, and you want to know if you've been exposed. Or, you know, maybe in order when we, God, hopefully, we are released from this lockdown and we can get back to some normalcy and go back to work, you want to know if your antibodies are already developed so that you feel like, and you know you have your own immunity. Or you even want to know if you haven't been exposed at all, maybe when the lockdown gets opened up, maybe you don't want to go back to work just yet. So this is really good news for people who want some peace of mind, who want to know the state of their health, the state of their health quality, and it's not even a blood draw. I mean, you don't even have to get a needle in your arm. It's just a simple little finger prick on your finger, and you put some blood dots on a piece of paper, which is way better than getting a needle, in my opinion. So if you're interested in knowing more, I've got a couple tests. And if we get a lot of people who are interested, I can always order more tests. They literally come to me overnight. The turnaround time, I forgot to write up here, the turnaround time is 48 to 72 hours. So from the time that you stick your finger, put the blood on the piece of paper, mail it, and they get it, it's going to be about 48 to 72 hours turnaround time, which is about 2 to 3 days. And that's pretty good considering that most of these other tests, the current blood draws are taking a lot longer than that. So this is it's a short term, let me rephrase. It's a reasonable turnaround time for the value and the precision of the test. It's pretty good considering. So if you're interested, give us a call or message us on Facebook or send us an email. And if you like this video, please like it, share it, make a comment, and let your friends know that these tests are available. Thank you.